I'm going to start going over bitmaps, but this time I'm going to be going over images. And a lot of times in other game programming, these are called sprites when you start doing actual images, PNGs, bitmaps, JPEGs. So that's the area that I'm going into. The file that I'll be reviewing is called the Sprite Basics. One of the things between the old Allegro 4.2 and the new Allegro 5.0 is that with a new Allegro, you can set transparency. So you can use images that already have transparency, or you can set the transparency color, and I am going to be showing you that. In order for you to work with images, you need to first include Allegro 5 Allegro image.h. That is the first thing that you need to do. And then you need to al init image add-on. And I should include, you should always have the if statement that says not al init image add-on. Once again, this protects you that if it doesn't get added on for some reason, let's say it can't find the library, then the program can't even go on, because otherwise the program will actually exit without knowing why. Since we want to create our image from an image file, we just want to declare our images. And this is something that I guess I didn't realize in the last video that I showed you, is that you can do a single image. It doesn't have to be an array. So it's still declared Allegro underscore bitmap asterisk image. It doesn't have to be an array. Initialize it to null, that way you do know that it is empty. Now, one of the important things is that the image, either you have to hard code the entire path of the image, or you have to put it in the directory that you are working in. I think it is best to put the image in the directory that you are working in. So the project I'm working in is Sprite Basic, and I am working with this pirate penguin. So just if I open it, I can show you what it looks like. That's what the image looks like. And I have it within the second folder within the project. And then you want to load the image. So you will see at the top right here, I say image, because that's the name of my Allegro bitmap, equal al underscore load underscore bitmap. And then I just put the quotes around the name of the file. Now this bitmap here, I'll open it again, and I'll open it in Paint so you can just, I'll show you different, it's actually a white background, but this white background is a transparent background. Let's see if I open it in Paint, Microsoft Office, maybe. Yeah, you can see that it's actually a transparent. This PNG, a PNG has an alpha transparency channel, where a BMP does not have that, and neither does a JPEG. They don't have what's called transparency channels. So if you have a JPEG or a BMP, then you can filter a certain color out, and I am going to show you how to do that. But the image that I'm showing you right now actually has transparency built in it. So all I have to do is load it from the file, and that means as long as it's in there, it's in the correct directory, it will load there. If it doesn't load in and you try to run the program and the image is not there, it will automatically shut down with an error message saying that it can't find the file that you're looking for. You could always check to say if the image is still equal to null, don't continue the program any further. That's because you set it to null in the beginning. Now I'm using my keyboard in this program just to show you what the program looks like. I have my graphics window in the front end, and then I have my cout window in the back, and I pound included IO stream using namespace std. So this way, just to give the instructions on the back window to show what the different keyboard presses are. In this program, I'm just showing you all the different things that you could do with a bitmap. You could do the same things with user-defined bitmaps, and we used some of those functions, but we didn't use all of them. So the left and right are using the rotate functions. The up and down arrows are using the scale functions. D is drawing it in the natural state, which this right, what you see on the screen right now is the natural state. H is doing what's called a horizontal flip. V is doing a vertical flip. B is doing a vertical flip and a horizontal flip. T is using what's called a tint, so it's randomly generating a tint, and P is drawing a portion of this. And I changed this after I did the notes, is that in the notes, I hard-coded the portion that it was displaying to the screen, and the code that you will be downloading is it's randomly generating what portion that it's doing. So the left arrow, it's rotating. Every time I press the button, it's rotating to the left and right. Now if I go back to the right key, it's rotating back to the right. If I use the up key, it goes back to the original state and then scales up from the original image. But as you can see, it's getting pixelated. And I use my down key and it scales down. If I do D, it returns back to its natural state. If I do an H, notice how you can see here, the hook now is on the other side. So I'll do this one more time. D puts it at, this is its natural state. The hook is over here. If I do the H, that's the flipping on the horizontal. The hook goes on to the right-hand side. D brings it back to its natural state, and I do a V. It flips it upside down. Some of you have used this already. Bring it back to its natural form. And then I'm going to use a B, which means a horizontal and a vertical flip. So it does both of them. Bring it back to its natural form, and I'm going to do the T for tinting. Now, every single time I press T, it's randomly generating a new tint color. So some of them are darker than the other. These are just randomly generated tint colors. Now the P, this is slightly different than the notes. So every time I press P, sometimes you're not going to see much because I'm randomly generating, but you see how it's only generating a portion to the screen. So sometimes you see, this time you only have a little hook over here. It's only drawing a small portion of the penguin to the screen. So the P is drawing a portion of the bitmap to the screen. Here, these are all the keyboard events that I was telling you about. So the first keyboard event that I have here was using the left arrow key, and this was using AL Draw Rotate Bitmap. The first parameter is image. The second and the third parameter is indicating where are you rotating around. The best place to rotate around is the center of the image, because that means that you are rotating around the actual image. In most other graphics package, when you rotate around 0, 0. So Allegro is a little bit different in that. It actually is better to rotate around the center of the image. So these two, the second and third parameter is rotating around. This indicates where you want to rotate, and it's best to do rotating around the center of the image. This is the XY location of where you want to put it, and this is the angle of how much you are rotating. And you can see that I'm rotating in here a floating point, and when I'm doing the left key, I'm subtracting the angle, and when I'm doing the right key, I'm increasing the angle. And just like in the last lecture, the smaller the number, the slower the rotation, the larger the number, the bigger the rotation. Okay, the next two that really go together are the up key and the down key, and those two are associated with the scaling. The up key is for increasing, and the down key is for decreasing the scaling. And scaling means increasing, and scaling means increase or decreasing the size. The second and third parameter is the source X and Y. The fourth and fifth parameter is the source width and height. And then 7, 8, 9, and 10 are really dealing with where you want the size to be. So these are what we want the size to be. So where do you want to start the new size to be, and how big do you want it to be? One of the things that you have to make sure of is that you don't want to do anything by 0, because anything times 0 is 0, so that size would be in there. And if you keep it at the original scale, so if I put 0, 0, W height, 0, 0, W height, that means it's going to be exactly the same. The keys D, H, V, and B all have to deal with standard AL draw bitmap. The first one, the D, is the standard draw bitmap that you use with your drawing. The H is the standard bitmap but has the flag of the horizontal flip. The V has the standard AL draw bitmap but with the vertical flip. And the B has the standard draw bitmap but with the Allegro flip horizontal and Allegro flip vertical. Notice that it's a single operator, and that means it does this and this. The T, notice that it's for tinting, so AL draw tinted bitmap. It has the image, the tint color that you're creating, the XY position of where you're doing it, and the flag. So you can do a flag on this one also. I'm just generating random colors for R, G, and B here. For the P command, I'm generating an XY location. And this XY location is I'm drawing a bitmap region. So I'm drawing the image and I'm starting at 0, 0, but my end position is saying I'm going to draw from 0, 0 to wherever the X and Y position. So I'm drawing only a portion of the rectangle of the position, and I'm going to draw it in the XY position. The last part that's really important is that at the end of any program, you have to deallocate any memory that you allocated. In this program, we only allocated one bitmap, even that we printed it out multiple different ways. So we need to say AL destroy bitmap. If you allocated 100 bitmaps, then you have to deallocate all 100 bitmaps. There are many operations. I've only shown you a few operations. If you go to the Allegro, www.allegro.cc manual/5, and you go to the Allegro draw bitmap, if you go on the left, you'll see all the drawing operations that are over here. A lot of the operations that I already showed you can be combined. For example, the AL draw tinted rotated bitmap. You can also do AL draw scaled rotated bitmap. You can do an AL draw tinted scale bitmap. In one of our labs this week, I'm actually going to have you use some of the combined operations that I didn't discuss in here. So you have to start to get used to going to the Allegro.cc library to find out the other operations that are available to you. And it's allowed to go to the www.allegro.cc or the wiki, the Allegro wiki library, and seeing the functions that are available to you. Those are acceptable websites to actually go and see the other functions that are available to you. The next that we're going to go over is we're going to take a BMP, and I'm going to show you how to make something that's not transparent, and also how to have a background on it, and how to animate not the actual bitmap, but how to animate the bitmap across the screen back and forth, similar to what we already have done with our custom-made bitmaps. Next week, we're going to go into animating a single bitmap.